Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to our channel. Also, welcome to the first video of this new series that I'm starting that's tentatively called How Do We Get Here? Where I basically take a quick dive into things that I'm particularly interested about at the moment or stuff that's like really relevant and just kind of tell you what really led to things being the way they are. I know it sounds like super like conceptual and stuff, but like it'll make sense once I like get into the video. Today's video, besides being sponsored by Skillshare, is going to be about actually, ironically, brand ambassadors and sort of like the whole influencer sort of thing, but specifically like student brand ambassadors and what the whole situation with that is, because I feel like they're becoming more and more common, at least the student brand ambassadors are. And in this video specifically, I'm going to be talking about what are brand ambassadors, what are student brand ambassadors, what are like the ups, the downs, the dark sides, and then I'm going to get into you guys' confessions that I asked on Instagram. Also, shameless plug to my Instagram, go follow me there. Basically to spill the tea on what it's really like to be a student brand ambassador. Just a really good dive into the whole world of brand ambassadors. So by the end of this video, hopefully you'll be a little bit more knowledgeable. It definitely was really enlightening for me learning about all this because I didn't know a lot of things and now I know a little bit more. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then keep on watching, and if you're new, hit that subscribe button because more content will be on the way very, very soon. But yeah, let's get into this. So first things first, what is a brand ambassador? In my mind, I think of like a few different things. Let's go first by like the dictionary definition, or at least like the Wikipedia definition. A brand ambassador is a person who's employed by an organization or company to represent a brand in a positive light, and by doing so, help to increase brand awareness and sales. Basically, people that are hired by a certain company to talk well about that company. And ideally, it's supposed to come from like the average person because, like, think about it, when it comes to like things like, I don't know, like Red Bull, who would you trust more? Like The Rock telling you to drink Red Bull because he likes it, or a fellow student or colleague telling you to drink it because it helps them be more productive in their average day-to-day life? I like to believe that it'd be the classmate, but also at the same time, that's not to say that celebrities aren't good brand ambassadors, because we all know that a lot of like different influencer marketing relies on different influencers, different celebrities, and the different tiers of influencer. But when it comes to student brand ambassadors, like on campus at college or at a workplace, brand ambassadors, it's generally more of like your average person, and it comes across as more of like a side job or like an internship. And that brings up another question, like what's the difference between being a brand ambassador and like being someone who has like a brand deal or promotion or like sponsorship or something like that? And like I mentioned, a brand ambassador or like a student brand ambassador specifically is more closely linked to an internship than anything else really. For example, let's look up one company's job posting for like a brand ambassador. I'm using Red Bull specifically because I've seen some of their student brand ambassadors at my school. And basically as a brand ambassador at Red Bull, or what they call a marketeer. So it says, build a campus plan that ensures an impact aligned with any local market needs on the total undergraduate and graduate audience throughout a semester in accordance with the student marketeer SBM's KPIs, engaging new users in diverse groups on campus, and the following tactics. And those tactics are driving trial on a daily basis via 1v1 seating, basically like giving out Red Bulls to people. Building image via Red Bull owned events, hacks, screenings, shared Red Bull properties via social media. So basically posting about it on social media, being active about that. Drive visibility and availability of the product by placing POS and passing on sales opportunities. So basically be present on campus with it. Develop relationships with campus opinion leaders. So reach out to like student leaders to like get them to like promote it. And adhere to events, activities, strategic guidelines to ensure quality execution. Follow their guidelines and you'll be good. And when you go down, there's like a section on being a product and brand expert, sales support, management, and admin. Basically the list goes on, and it kind of sounds more and more like an internship than it does like a sponsored opportunity. This is giving like very much employee as opposed to just like influencer, if that makes sense. So a lot of times you see like student brand ambassadors set up different events or like different tables, generally in like the college square, like wherever like the main gathering is. Like at my school, we have like this plaza called Kogan Plaza. And I remember like throughout the years, there'd be like a bunch of different brand ambassadors, like some for Red Bull, some for like yerba mate, just a bunch of different companies where people would like set up stands and give out free product and just try and promote the product a lot. So to distinctively like define what the difference is between like a brand ambassador, like a student brand ambassador, and like a student influencer in forms of like promotion, I'd say that brand ambassadors are more towards events, and the sort of student influencer brand deal promotion sponsorship sort of thing is kind of different. And I'll give you an example of what that's kind of like with this video sponsor, Skillshare. Yes, that was a smooth transition, I know. This video is proudly sponsored by Skillshare, and if you don't know what Skillshare is already, you have been following my channel for a bit, literally where have you been? They're an online learning community where you can take classes in literally anything you want. And when I say classes, I don't really mean like learning for like a degree or like education or anything. With Skillshare, you're basically learning for your own passions. They have a wide variety of classes to suit whatever interests you may have. For like photography, art, business, even like starting a YouTube channel, it feels like they honestly have it all. And like I said, I'm genuinely a really big fan of Skillshare because I can take classes in things that I wouldn't really be getting in school, and it fits into my schedule wherever I want it to because I can take the classes at my own speed. For example, I've been taking a course in YouTube SEO optimization with Christine Meisel to really get my videos more optimized to be on the YouTube algorithm. I know that that's kind of niche, but if you've been looking to learn something new, like, I don't know, like learn how to sing or learn how to draw or whatever, Skillshare will really help you with that and will take you from the beginner level all the way up to advanced. Now, as always, Skillshare has hooked us up with the deals, and the first 1,000 people to click the link in my description or in the pinned comment get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. Otherwise, it's less than $10 a month. Thank you so much, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video, and actually let's dissect what I just did there. So that was an example of a brand promotion or a brand deal, basically promoting a brand that hopefully you use and actually genuinely like to your audience. It's kind of similar to like a brand ambassador sort of deal. Both parties still like agree that like, if you talk about my company, we'll pay you. It's more of the terms of like what exactly you have to do and what counts as like brand promotion to the brand. So for like a brand promotion or sponsorship, it's generally like an integration into the content you already make. So that may be like an Instagram post, a TikTok, a YouTube video, but that is contained within that set of content, which is different from like a brand ambassador situation where you have to come up with a whole strategic plan, actually get out there. In a sense, it's making content, but it's more of like making an event to like learn about and try the product of like the brand that you're supposed to be the ambassador for. It kind of suits the name, like you are representing a brand as opposed to you are promoting a brand, if that makes sense. Basically, they're kind of similar, but also very different in certain aspects. Now that we have that cleared up, let's go back heavy into the student ambassadors and kind of talk about how did this become so popular? How did this become so mainstream? Because I feel like everyone in college knows or at least has seen a college brand ambassador. And honestly, this isn't necessarily a new thing. There's always been ambassadors for different companies promoting different brands for money. And in more recent times, you see a lot more companies going for the whole college student ambassador because it works and it's pretty cheap. You're basically paying a handful of students to go out and promote your product to people that are basically in a bubble, because a lot of college communities are really insular and are really susceptible to different product placement because, again, first time on your own, if you come across this new product or this product that you really have always loved but never really had the chance to really experience, for me that was yerba mate. And I will say the brand ambassadors at my school for yerba mate really did their job because that stuff is delicious and they got like most of my school hooked on it. But that just goes to show that it's super effective because basically what these brand ambassadors do is that they set up camp in the student quad and hand out a bunch of free product, all for the sake of exposing students to the product so you can get them hooked to want more. It basically plays on the psychological and advertising rule of 7, which basically says that you generally need like 7 different exposures to an advertisement to actually want to go and buy it. Of course, the number fluctuates and maybe more or less for different people, but like if you think of online advertisement, like the first time you see an ad for a product, you may not think anything of it. But if you see the product being advertised 3 different times, you see 2 people talk about it, and then you finally see it in person, you may feel more inclined to actually go and buy the product than if you were to see it for the first time. And how this relates to student brand ambassadors is that they're playing off of this model. They're frequently advertising on campus just to get the brand in your mind, so that even if you try it once and don't necessarily vibe with it, if you keep seeing it on campus and then see it in like a store, you're more likely to buy it than if it was your first time not knowing anything about it. Which is someone who's studying entrepreneurship, it's actually kind of interesting how they do that. Kind of cool. Companies and brand ambassadors, I'll give you that. Kind of cool. But moving on, we're gonna be talking more about what does that mean for you? What are like the perks of being a brand ambassador? Well, first off, sometimes you make money and you also get a ton of experience because you are pretty much coming up with your own marketing campaign. Of course, you have guidance from whatever brand you're working with, but for the most part, the actual in-person advertisement, how you go about doing it, and what you specifically say to people, that's kind of on you. So that could be a really good resume builder. And one of the last things that I found that are a really big perk of being a brand ambassador is that you get free stuff. Like you get free product or like you get merch, which can be cool if that's what you like and you're the brand ambassador for a company that you actually genuinely like, or for like a brand that has a product that you would buy normally but don't have to now, which of course is cool. But now let's get into the downsides. One of the downsides is that sometimes brand ambassadors can be really undervalued for the work that they do. Because for ambassadors that don't end up getting paid actual physical cash or like a salary, you're kind of just doing all this brand promotion just for like the clout of it. And while clout is nice, the clout does not pay for the bills. So while you may be the best brand ambassador, be making the company a bunch of money by getting their name out there, you aren't necessarily being compensated what your value is as, like, at that point, just like an influencer. Also, to go along with that, another downside is that a lot of times being a brand ambassador is a pretty high commitment. Along with the full school workload, some brand ambassador programs ask for at least 6 to 8 hours of working for them a week, which for some people, depending on your schedule and depending on if you're not being paid or not, can be a lot of time, because that time could be going towards either studying, making money, basically anything else. And then the last big downside that I'm going to mention is that sometimes you get into some pretty sketchy deals and some pretty sketchy brand ambassador programs, especially if they're not like a bigger company. A lot of smaller companies and startups don't necessarily have the funds or the resources to really have a fully fleshed out brand ambassador program. So sometimes you might be signing up for something that isn't going to be paying you, or is like really vague with like details. Where some that may say that they're going to pay you, and then when the time comes, they don't actually pay you because you didn't really sign anything in writing that meant anything. So watch out for those. I'd say especially watch out for the ones that DM you on Instagram that don't have a ton of followers and seem kind of sus. I'm not saying that they're all not legit, but definitely do your research before you actually invest time, energy, money into a lot of these brand ambassador programs, because some of them can be scams for one, and others just are kind of sketchy. With all that said, we're now going to get into the section of the video where we sort of talk about actual brand ambassadors, and specifically their confessions about being a brand ambassador. If you follow the channel for a while, you know I like to do this series where I read out people's confessions. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I asked people on Instagram who are brand ambassadors to really detail their experience, to talk about it and like give their confessions, their truths about what it was like, and I'm gonna read those to you right now. So the question I asked was, what was your brand ambassador experience like? And here are the responses. This one person says, amazeballs, rewarding to see you're the face of a brand that's not yours. Which is cool. It's cool to see your face on something of a company that's already established that isn't yours. This next person says, you sell your soul to a company for X amount of months. Some are really shady and don't want to pay after content has been posted, which is sort of what I mentioned before. Kind of tea. This next one says, I had to play soccer and tag them in every picture that I posted. Pretty low maintenance, I think. I had a pretty good experience, but you have to promote like crazy and it's draining, which makes sense given you're like a full-time student. Okay, for like a second I'll admit it. Only for a second. For a reason though. Okay. Kind of shady there. Been one for like a college stuff brand, and the lady in charge of our group is really good about giving us discount codes to use for ourselves, so that's nice. This one's more of advice. Don't do it if it just gives you a deal. You should get free merch or influencer charge out of it, which is something that I personally agree with, because for me that'd be a lot of work just to get like a t-shirt with the company's name on it. I don't know, that's just me though. I was for the coldest water and it sucked. I have my opinions about coldest water. I can make a whole separate video on them. If y'all want to see it, then let me know in the comments. I just have my own thoughts about their whole influencer strategy. And then this last one says, I've been asked, but they don't offer money or anything up front. It's all agreements with no legality. I've tried talking to 2 other influencers, but got no response. Which again seems kind of sus, but can't account for all brand ambassador opportunities. Just make sure that you're really looking into it. And it sounds like they were looking into it because they reached out to 2 other people. But yeah, if this sounds like something you'd want to do, make sure that you're being really safe about it and do your research beforehand, because you don't want to be screwed over. And I guess all this kind of leads to my last question of, is it worth it? Is it worth being a brand ambassador, a student brand ambassador? And in my personal opinion, I'd say yes, so long as that they're paying you and that you actually like the brand that you're working with. Personally, I just wouldn't want to put all that time and dedication in if I A, wasn't being paid, and if B, it wasn't for a company I actually like. I'd rather just try and get an internship somewhere or a job somewhere that would actually pay for all that. But if you really want that experience of like being a self-starter and want to have like an avenue to do it, then definitely that is an option for you. And also, if you're doing it just for the clout, which is okay to say, you can say that, I'd recommend, if you do have a platform at all on any social media, to try and actually go for like a brand deal or a sponsorship. I can make a video about how you would go about getting those if you want. I don't have a ton of experience, but I do have some experience that I can sort of pass on to y'all. But if you want to like work with a company or like represent a company that you really like, then reach out to them. Like DM them, email them, if you want more of like the influencer-y kind of experience with that. But other than that, yeah, if you want to really be a brand ambassador and don't have an internship opportunity or anything else really lined up, then go for it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this at least a little bit interesting. And again, if you like this series, then let me know by leaving a like. And also, if you're new and want to see more content from me, then hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a notification of whenever I post. Other than that, thanks so much Skillshare for sponsoring this video once again, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.